Hello, friends.
Let me ask you a question. If something happened to you tomorrow, does your family have access to your properties, your bank accounts, and your home and your assets? The reason we are going to talk about trust today is because we have had 3 recent conversations with clients and friends that do not have their trust set up that need to have one set up. We have a couple of horror stories that have happened recently, so we are going to go through why and how and what you need a trust for in California. So here we go.
So what we're going to walk you through is what a trust is, what documents you actually need, who should have one, hint, probably you, and exactly what it costs you if you don't.
So what is a living trust? A revocable trust. It is the main document. It's basically another being that owns all your assets. So your assets go into the trust, and the trust owns the assets, and then you control that trust while you're alive, and then those documents control your assets once you pass away. So that is what an actual trust is. Your trust owns your assets and you control it. So nothing changes in your day-to-day life, but everything changes legally.
The core documents, okay, this is what you're going to need for a revocable living trust. The main document, it names your trustee, the person managing things. It names your beneficiaries, people that are going to receive the proceeds out of your estate. And it explains exactly how assets are distributed. And why this matters, this is what avoids probate court.
Now, the documents you will need your emergency access list that includes all bank accounts, all brokerage accounts, investment accounts, life insurance, 401ks, your safe deposit box and location, and access instructions, passwords to everything like your phone. Be sure that somebody you trust has access to your phone because everything is on there, including you need to have legacy people set up in your social media accounts so that all the photos you've been collecting, someone has access to them. So it's really important. I mean, I usually end up doing this before we go on a trip, updating all the things, make sure it's all set up. But the first time it took a while, but then when you're updating, because things change every year. You buy things, you sell things, you have new things, you have grandkids, you have kids. So things in your life change, and these documents need to be updated regularly.
Part of the whole trust package is called a pour-over will. So we're still going to need a will, and that's just in case of emergency. Let's say you just bought a property, you just bought a car. Let's just say you bought anything at all, new brokerage accounts. That will actually is a catch-all. So in case something has changed or something is missed, that's part of the package.
So we don't want anything to fall through the cracks.
That's right.
So the next document is the durable power of attorney. And what this set does, it allows someone to handle your financial matters if you're incapacitated. And without this, your family may have to go to court to even pay your bills. And you don't want that.
Also part of the package is an advanced healthcare directive. Once again, in case you're incapacitated, it designates who gets to make decisions for you. And sometimes it'll even get into the details when to pull the plug and when not to.
Mm-hmm. Now, trust funding documents. This is the one step that sometimes people forget to do. We have seen it where people take a property out of their trust to do a refinance and they forget to put it back in, and it's really a problem. So you must transfer ownership of your assets into your trust once you set it up. So your home, your bank accounts, investment accounts, etc. So an unfunded trust is basically useless, so you want to make sure you get everything done right.
Okay, the wake-up call, and this is for the state of California. Now, we're not attorneys, we're not accountants, we're not CPAs. We're just seeing this happen so many times that we're advocates to get this done while you still can. That comes on very quickly. In California, the probate fees are set by law, so these are non-negotiable, and they're based on the gross value of your estate. So here's the rough breakdown. 4% of the first $100,000, 3% of the next $100,000, then 2% of the next $800,000, and then anything over $9 million is 1%.
So, and that's just the attorney fees. The executor gets the same fees. And that's just the beginning of the costs of probate. So, yes, you're often paying double. California has one of the most expensive probate processes in the United States. So, when your estate goes to probate, you will have to pay administrative fees to the court, state mandated fees to the executor and attorneys, and it takes about 18 months to settle. And so, depending on your complexity of your estate, a probate case is filed in the county where the property is or where the person passed away. And so, if your family's not near, they have to come and deal with it in the county where the property or you passed away. And the fees and taxes are based on the gross value of your estate. So, if you say you have $1 million home, you have a $500,000 mortgage, they're going to charge the fees on the million, even though you don't have that much equity in the home. That's why this is so important. So we're going to run through an example on a $1.5 million estate, which isn't necessarily outrageous now given the home prices. If you have a home and a 401k, you may hit that $1.5 million threshold. And so the fees, probate fees for the administrator and the attorney, $28,000 each. For statutory fees and court fees, and then the taxes apply. So the first 100,000, 4,000, the next 100,000, 3,000, the next 800,000, 16,000, the next 500,000, 5,000. So your heirs will owe about $85,000 in fees and taxes on a $1.5 million value of your assets. 85,000. So it's makes paying an attorney to set this up really a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I think the big thing about that is if it does go to probate court, it's out of basically everybody's control, and the court, the judge, whatever happens, nobody gets to make the decision that you wanted to make while you were still capacitated.
Mm-hmm. So about 5 to 8% of your total value of your estate is going to go to fees, and you probably don't want that. So the probate fees, we've been through that. And the other thing, it's all public record. So anything you owned, anything you have, it all becomes public record. So if you don't want everyone to know, it's another reason to have a trust. And your family will need time to mourn. So do you have a 6 to 12 month emergency happen? They can pay the bills and get things wrapped up. That's really important. And then the first 48 hours after death, you need to write down clear instructions for your family, which is, call the attorney. Who is your attorney? Name and phone number, CPA, the life insurance information and who to call, all the bills that are on auto pay and how to pay them. And, grief destroys decision making. We have seen this over our decades in this job and have seen some of the worst case scenarios that you just don't want to happen because nobody thinks they're going to die. So when's the best time to do this? While you're alive.
Yeah, when you're gone, too late.
It protects your family, and it's really just so important. We can't stress it enough. Is why we're doing another show about it. Today's the day. Today's your reminder. You're looking for a sign. Here's your sign. And funeral arrangements. What are your wishes as far as your funeral arrangements? So who actually needs a trust?
Basically, anybody that owns a home in Ventura County needs a trust.
Mm-hmm. The other side of this, besides the financial assets, is if you have minor children, you need to have a trust, because even if you don't have necessarily large assets, but you have minor kids, you better be sure you have a trust lined up so that your wishes are carried out, and who's going to be guardians of your children and how are they going to be paid and all those kinds of things.
Yeah, you may have a sister that lives in Vermont that you want the children to go be raised in Vermont with, but the court decides that the step-grandparents get to do it in the same county where you are. Who knows? But it's out of your hands at that point.
That's right. So it's really important. So a home, if you have multiple properties, privacy concerns, any assets over $184,500, which is the California probate threshold, and a blended family can get complex really, really quick. So in places like Ventura County where home values are so high, most homeowners, we would say all homeowners need to have a trust. And you own a business. We have a horror story on a business. A client passed away unexpectedly, and it has been a nightmare. And I am not going to get into it, but You need to have key business person insurance. You need to have buy-sell agreements, the business succession plan, and the passwords. This client has had to hire cyber hackers to get into the business system because nobody knew the passwords. It's just a terrible situation. So that's another factor to consider is if you own a business, do you have a plan? And does somebody know what your plan is?
That's right. Yeah, so when you create your trust, you're going to, who is your successor trustee? You're going to need to know that. When do beneficiaries receive assets? If you have young children or children that are in their early teens or early 20s, you're probably not going to want to divest your full estate to them at that point, and it can be staggered out. It's up to you. You can decide whenever you want the assets to go and when they go and how long it's strung out over.
And you have protections for divorce and creditors and spendthrift heirs, children that you know probably shouldn't be getting lump sums. You can control all that while you're alive.
Yes. Instead of letting the court try to decide it, and the court is, in some instances, expedient in just trying to disperse the money. That may not happen immediately, but over when the probate's settled, the court kind of wants to walk away from this deal.
Yeah. We highly recommend that you hire an attorney. Of course, we have good referrals we can give you to set this up, but it is the most important thing that you make sure you have it done, because what could happen if you don't?
Right. We can't strongly recommend an attorney needs to handle this. There are other ways. I mean, you can go online and find several probably cheaper alternatives, but I don't think this is one time where you need to be cheap. A competent attorney is worth every penny you pay them.
Yeah, this is not a DIY situation, because even if you think your situation is simple, it's probably not as simple as you think as soon as you start to peel that onion back.
Yes, it gets very complicated very quick, and the estate attorneys, they go through this each and every day, and they are very good at it.
So the common mistakes you want to avoid is not funding your trust, not putting your assets in the trust name, forgetting to update it after life changes, choosing the wrong trustee, be careful with that, and thinking it will avoid probate, thinking a will alone avoids probate, and it does not. The will is just a pour-over will into the revocable trust.
Yeah, that's just part of the trust, the pour-over will. So, yes, and a will is, oh my gosh, nothing but trouble.
So the bottom line, please, please, please get this set up. Setting up a trust in California, it might cost you a few $1,000s, but it's certainly less than the $85,000 it's going to cost your heirs if anything happens, and certainly if something happens unexpectedly, because none of us know when that day is going to be. But having one will save your family not just money, but the stress of it all, if it's all laid out ahead of time. And we highly recommend that once this is set up, that you have a meeting with your heirs and you let them know ahead of time what the plan is, because once you're gone, they can't ask questions. And I promise you that there's going to be questions, no matter how you designate it. So please let your heirs know ahead of time. It saves so much heartache. I mean, you're gone once you're gone, but you leave wreckage behind you if you have not had this conversation and set things up ahead of time.
This just smooths the rough seas, and it very does, and we just can't reiterate it much how many problems we've seen by not having this, basically we call it simple documentation these days. To not have that is not nice for anybody, especially your estate.
So you are giving the gift of clarity, control, and peace of mind to your heirs. So we highly recommend that you get this done right away. If you have any questions, we've had ours set up for decades, and of course when our son turned 18, we updated all of our documents and got everything updated. And like I said, I update our asset list about every year, once a year at least. It's usually before I'm going on a trip, because anything could happen, but we highly recommend you get it done. So any questions, we're happy to talk about it, but we are just surprised we're doing this video again, because we've literally had this conversation 3 times recently. And so we are reiterating, please, 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 please Get your trust done. Now is the time. There's no better time than right now. So call us if you need a referral. We are happy to help you get this done. If you need help putting together your lists, I'm happy to help because it's that important. Because
Yes.
we have seen the other side of this, and it is really not a fun thing.
We've seen the other side of this way too many times. And people that we thought definitely had this taken care of did not have it taken care of. So that is our big news again
Yes.
on the trust.
We are on our trust soapbox again. So you know where to find us.
GaryandLisa.com.
Your Real Estate Edge.